Well, Jim, this is an exceptional bridge deck area, particularly considering this is a walk-around boat. Tell me about your thinking when you set this thing up.
By moving the helm to the forward bulkhead of the bridge deck, we gained a lot more space, a lot more usable space. Made it look more like a traditional express boat than a walk-around. Most people's concept of a walk-around is very limited seating, limited space, and I think we've addressed those issues and still try to have easy access to the engine room, you know, plenty of storage.
Well, looks like you've really covered the bases right here, and you're right. You know, when you think of the hard charging walk-around fishing boat, it's not generally used in the same sentence with the family boat that's out there with the wife and the kids having fun fiddling around on the water. And I can see where this would work extremely well for both ways. Even with the walk-around area, the smaller kids can run around there. You don't have to watch them every second because it's not easy. They're not going to be slipping off the side trying to move around the boat, you know, walking on the gunnels out there.
It really becomes like the SUV of sport fishermen, you know.
You know, at a glance, what I'm seeing in here, it looks like, you know, that there could be 10 or 12 people and actually still have a place to sit down for everybody. Of course, that's not going to leave you a lot of fishing space when you got that many people on board, but that's true on any boat. I've been on 70-foot boats. When you put 12 people on there, there's not much fishing space if they're outside where they can see what's going on anyway.
Well, you know, the more fish you catch, the more people want to come with you, it seems like.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so it's good to have. It's a good sign if you have a crowd on the boat.
That's it. But it looks like you've really got the best of both worlds right here: the fishability and the maneuverability of the hard charging fishing boat and the creature comfort that the family folks are going to want.
And at the same time, we tried to maintain all the traditional aspects of, you know, what I consider a classic sport fisherman, with the teak helm pod, teak captain's chairs, teak fiddle rails for the cushions, teak handrail, you know, offset with the white, and just, you know, not an overwhelming amount of teak, not so much where it's hard maintenance issue, but enough to make a nice detail and just have that look.
Teak is such a serviceable wood, and it looks great in here.
A lot of boats in this size range want to have an entire bridge deck that lifts up and elevates on electric rams and all. And when you do that, you give up a certain amount of space and you give up sound. One of the things we did with this boat, we made this so there's 18 bolts that hold the entire bridge deck down. So half a day in the boatyard, and you can take this bridge deck off completely. You can pull engines out. You can do all your service work, and by having a bolted down semi-permanent bridge deck, the noise level is substantially diminished.
You know, we're standing here and we're in South Florida, and it's right toasty outside, and no breeze whatsoever, and we're comfortable in here, and that speaks a lot for the AC unit, which I'm sure some of these bridge decks don't have that.
No, but this one has a 16,000 BTU system on the bridge, and you know, every one of our boats has one in the cabin as well, of course. But AC, this particular boat has heat as well, because this is going up north to be a year-round fishing boat out of New Jersey.
Tell me a little bit about this special glass you have on here.
Well, this is an acrylic. This particular one is called Sea Acrylic, and this whole windshield basically will fold back onto here. It's real easy to take them all out. They're all in tracks. You know, for going out fishing in the middle of the winter, it's nice to not get that spray in your face, but in the summertime, if you're taking the family to the sandbar, you take it all down, leave it back at the dock. You go to you know, and then you're in a giant center console,
right,
open fisherman with all the amenities.
Options, lots of options.
Yeah.
Options are a good thing. It's always good to be able to get stuff out of the way when you aren't using it, and then have it very accessible when you do need it. Got a couple of radios right there, out of the way. Interesting little situation right here. You don't see these on boats of a few years back. This is a joystick. You can maneuver the whole boat with the pods on this boat. It makes it so easy to take care of. Of course, it still has the conventional controls, but that's the ticket right there. Easy access. Get down and take a look at what's going on down there.
You know, being a walk-around boat makes it a little challenge on the outboard side of the engines, but these particular engines are QSM 11 715 horsepower Cummins diesels, and it's about the biggest package we can put in this boat. And they're still, you know, it's a spacious. It's actually a spacious engine room, which
it
I
is.
never thought I'd hear myself say that. All 24-volt LED engine room lights in there, so there's not a whole lot of stuff to whack your head on. You know, if there was, I would have found it already.
Oh yeah,
because I'm good at that.
I have a knack for it.
Well lit, easy to get to all the valves and everything to check. Makes for an easy life.
Down below, everything here that's necessary to go out and be comfortable on the high seas. You got your microwave oven, gotta have that. Can't live without the hot dogs and reheating the coffee. Storage area for all the stuff. Some of it's already in here. Sourdough nibblers, Ziploc bags, peanuts, and whatever. Over here is more storage area. You can't have too much down here. Got your sink, good area for prepping your food, 2-burner stove, and lots of cooler area. Got a couple of them down here. Those you gotta have. More storage for probably, I imagine, cleaning supplies and so forth will end up down there. But it comes right on down to a couple of bunks up front, entertainment center. Comfortably sleep 3 in here. I'm 6'2", and my head's not touching the top right here, so there's plenty of room to maneuver around down here. So everything you need, particularly considering this is a walk-around boat, there's a lot of really functional space down here. Well, the head area has all of the necessities. Got your sink over here, shower head. Of course, there's teak flooring in there. There's a drain in the floor, so you stand right there and take a shower. You got your toilet. Everything you need. What is kind of cool about this is I'm 6'2" and I'm standing in there and I can still stand up straight. I get into a lot of the heads on these boats and there is not much headroom, and there is in this boat. So very functional area. Well, Jim, some of the things that are really impressive about this boat is how well thought out it is. You know, taking advantage of the boats that were made in the past and saw what happened and what didn't happen with them. You were mentioning something about the gutters in this that you rearranged different than other boats that you'd seen.
One of the things we try to do with the gutters is have it so they're all outboard of the pod, so nothing's going to drain onto any metal that's down there. And we put a big drain system into the gutters so everything goes overboard, nothing drains into the bilge at all. Your pod itself is the transmission, it's the power steering, and it's the lower unit. So you have gear oil and gear lube, gear oil in the lower unit, and with this particular pod, with the Zeus pods, we're able to change all our fluids from inside the boat without having to haul it, and that's why we did these hatches like this. You'd be able to get around the whole pod, get to everything that's in your lazarette. You know, we have 5 underwater lights on this boat, and again, we can change the light bulbs and everything from inside the boat. They're all contained. You know, we're able to access everything. We use the water pickups that are on the pod. We don't use them for cooling the engine. We use them for filling our pump box for all our live bait system on this boat.
Cool. Like I say, well thought out boat. There's a lot of things that have been considered on this as a result of being around boats in the past. I mean, I guess they're always evolving, and they will continue to evolve. But this to me certainly looks like some of the latest and greatest. Well, Jim, over the years I've been on a lot of boats, all sizes. I don't think I've ever seen a cockpit any more fishable than this one is. It has just got it all. I mean, it's got the space. I mean, the design is great. So what was your inspiration for this? I know you're a fisherman. That had to be part of it.
Well, you know, John Rybovich said when you're going to design a boat, first you build the box. You design the box being the cockpit. And one of the things that always impressed me with the old boats that I fished was that you can get from corner to corner in a step or two. But generally speaking, they were pretty long cockpits. And you know, we fish in Guatemala, sometimes we'll have 4 anglers and 2 mates. And even though we're fishing on relatively small boats, 37 to 40-foot boats, there's always a lot of room. And that's, you know, I've noticed, it seems the trend is over the years, the house on the boat gets bigger and the cockpit gets smaller.
Yeah.
Boats get wider, so the square footage wise, you're still, you know, a big cockpit. But it's just different layout. So, you know, we tried to make this cockpit the way I would want to fish out of it.
And this has got all the room that you could ever ask for. You know, when you put a couple mates in here, you could put 4 anglers. There's still places for them to be on the bridge deck where they're accessible to the cockpit. There's seats out here. I mean, everything they could ask for, in addition to the fact that if they need to go to the bow, they don't have to be a gymnast to get up there. They can just walk up there. I mean,
It's an amazing boat. It really is.
And one of the things that we try to take into consideration with this also is, with catch and release fishing, we want to be able to reach over the side and get as close to the waterline as we can and still be safe, without having had somebody hold onto your belt or your ankles. And if you look at the old boats, the cockpit height is very close to the waterline height. Not a whole lot of difference, and we tried to do that as best we could, but still having a modern bottom. One thing we've heard over and over again from many, many different anglers is that a fishing boat has to have a fish box. And so the one thing we did on this boat, we have 6 foot 2 inch long fish boxes.
Yeah.
So if you get that 120 pound wahoo or 50 pound mahi, you can
They'll fit.
put it on ice and it'll fit.
They'll fit. Yeah, you got to have it.
750 pound a day ice maker that dumps into the starboard fish box. Keeps you well supplied with nice crushed ice, which actually works real well in rum drinks also.
Yeah. Talk about easy access. It isn't any of that shuffling out a rail.
That's a walk around.
But isn't that easy when you hooked up to a fish, you're holding here and you're holding there, and you kind of use one more hand, and not a problem with this. It's a walkway and a half. Talk about fishable all the way around.
Yeah, it's hard to. I don't think you can run as fast as a fish can swim sometimes. So.
No, I don't think you can,
So-
even with a little drag on it.
Yeah. But getting up here, there's plenty of room. I mean, I think we've had 6 people up here. We're trying to catch you at the right height so you can lock in, still fight the fish comfortably from up here. Another boat that we're building a walk around is this whole deck here. The top of the cabin is getting a cushion because he wants his wife and kids to be able to have a place to lay out in the sun, and very Mediterranean Saint-Tropez style, or I guess Miami style.
Yeah. Yeah, well, why
And-
not? Why not? It's a good flat space. There's no reason not to be able to use it for that if you wanted to.
Exactly. One of the things I did when I was laying out the rod holders is I called Ray Rozier, captain friend of mine, and I said, Ray, what's the spacing on your rod holders? How far apart are they? And I thought it was a pretty simple question, but it was about a half-hour long answer.
I know Ray real well.
And-
I've
and-
done a lot of fishing with him, and you're going to get a very thorough answer.
Ray knows more about fishing than I'll ever know, than most people will ever know. And whatever he tells you, there's a reason.
Yeah.
And one of the things is these rod holders are 10.5 inches apart. That's because you can get one hand on both spools to control your kite lines going out. And the kite goes up there. We have electric outlets up under here. We have freshwater washdown on one side, saltwater washdown on the other. This particular boat has a
These little
power
guys?
winch. This is their up and down for your windlass.
Okay.
We talk about big spaces. There's 400 feet anchor line right there with 60 feet of chain. And there's room for a few more feet. Actually, another thing that was Ray's suggestion was these pitch wells. Just a small bait well to be able to have 4 or 5 baits. So when you are fighting a sailfish or whatever, a mahi, and you run up to the front of the boat, you have a guy following you. You have a spinning rod here with a hooked up to a goggle eye or your bait of choice. And if there's a sailfish following the other sailfish,
That's
you're
right.
ready.
You're right out there.
You make your cast and you're right on them. And then these wells get pressurized. And as you come up here, so when the water's running over, there's a little lever back here. You just turn it and it takes the pressure off the tank and it runs out the bottom. The only thing more fun than catching a fish is catching 2 at a time.
The tower configuration on this is really interesting. It could be higher or shorter, but it seems like it's just the right space for not making it impossible for somebody to get in there and actually wash underneath it.
One of the things, a lot of boats get the tower on them and it's just for show, but we actually, the way we fish down here and wherever we go, we use the tower a lot. And that's, we live in that tower. So it needs to be comfortable,
Okay.
at least for the guy that's crawling up there.
And you have the joystick up there too?
We have the joystick up there. We have twin Palm Beach style controls.
Conventional controls?
We got a 12-inch Simrad display up there as well. And you know, you can certainly run the whole boat from up there wherever you want to go to.
Well, Jim, I know you've been involved in a lot of different things over the years, and some things I know related to fishing, like your Lodge Casa Viejo down in Guatemala, which I've had the pleasure of being at. But I got to ask you, what in the world possessed you to get in the boat building business?
Well, you know, I think there's not a day that goes by that I don't ask myself the same question.
Yeah.
But
In a good way.
some days it's good. No, but the long and short of it is, you know, I mean, all the boats that I have, all these 40, 50-year-old boats, you know, it's really been a labor of love restoring them, not just repairing them. And we got to the point where a friend of mine said to me, you know, aren't you tired of just rebuilding old boats? Why don't you build your own boat? And I thought about it for a while. I said, you know what, it's not a bad idea. And I started thinking about a lot of things. You know, how come nobody builds, you know, a 37-foot Merritt or 36-foot Robinvich anymore? How come nobody builds the boat, you know, in that size range with the tumble home and the spray rails and the guardrails? And, you know, I mean, they're built, but not at an affordable price for people. And, you know, back in the beginning when those boats were built, they were built to, you know, for the sole purpose of going to catch fish. They were a work
they were
boat.
fishing boats.
I mean, you know, today they are viewed as, you know, somewhat works of art, but, you know, and the reality is, back in the day, they were utilitarian. They were a tool for catching giant tuna or marlin or whatever the quarry was. And I kind of, you know, the nostalgia, the part of me that loves the nostalgia, kind of wanted to bring that back. You know, why, you know, and, you know, I think it's a good idea. You know, why not build a boat that does that does what boats were supposed to do?
Well, you know, with this boat, you've brought it back plus.
Yeah.
You know, you've brought it back, and then there's other things that are included in this boat that just nobody really thought about back there.
Right. No, that's the question. I mean, the John Ryboviches and the Buddy Merritts, you know, they were trendsetters in their day. And, you know, the question that I always ask, if they were alive today, what would they, you know, they wouldn't be building the same way they were building a boat back then.
No.
And you know, I mean, they were great artisans of their craft, but they were innovators. And, you know, to have the ability to innovate with today's materials was actually a pretty exciting concept of, you know, that's part of what drove me into doing this with building boats. January 15th, 2011, we opened up our shop, a little 7,500 square foot shop in northern part of Miami. And that's rapidly grown to 48,000 square feet.
Holy cow.
Yeah, with our own carpentry and woodworking shop, and we do all our own toolings. That is to say that we make, you know, we build this boat from concept, from design concept. We build the plug. From the plug we build the mold, and from the mold we build the finished boat. And you know, we try to use a lot of the production techniques, but still building a custom boat. You know, like the hull is built out of a mold. If you want a 46-foot boat, we'll build it however you want it, but the hull's the hull. You don't get to make changes on a hull, just like you don't get to make changes on a hull on a Rybovich or a Merritt,
Right.
or a Whitaker or any of those. You're getting their hull.
Their hull. You can customize it however you want to after
Yeah.
that. But tell you
You
what,
get to pick the colors.
after really getting a good look at this thing, and I'd heard about it, seen it, you know, glimpse here and there, and a few pictures. Tell you what, it's a special piece of machinery right here. I'm impressed.